You're on a family vacation, and today's stop wasn't your choice. Music is blasting, and it's not your favorite. Your dad is driving, and you're thinking that you'd much rather have been out with your new friends than in the back seat of this car. It's almost the end of summer, and you've been staying at a cottage nearby on Lake Erie. For the most part, you've had a blast, but today called for rain, and your parents want to explore. So here you are. You stop on the banks of the Detroit River, and you're immediately charmed by what looks to be the oldest town in the province. The promenade along the waterfront is beautiful, with sculptures dotting the park-like setting. Your dad guides you down Dalhousie Street, a tree-lined street home to the town's oldest and most historic buildings. You stop at the corner of Dalhousie and Murray to admire a 2-story house with a red door. On the railing, tourist brochures catch your eye. You step forward to take one, only to hear the sound of glass breaking. A moment later, you hear more noise. You look to see, but no one else is around, and your dad has already crossed the street. You catch up to him to tell him what you heard, and he throws his head back in laughter and says, "Don't worry, that's just the ghosts inside the old house." I'm Nadine Bailey, and this is Haunted Canada. Join me as I share the story of the Gordon House in Amherstburg, Ontario. Known as a War of 1812 community, Amherstburg was on the front lines during the conflict with the United States. It's only about 16 miles south of Detroit, Michigan, and has a long history. French colonists first arrived to settle along what became the Canadian side of the Detroit River and established small farms which became the Petite Kate settlement to the north. In 1796, following the American Revolutionary War, the British established Fort Malden as a military fort overlooking the river's mouth at Lake Erie. They had just lost the 13 colonies and were looking to protect their assets in Upper Canada. Fort Malden helped stimulate development, and the Crown granted land to Loyalists in compensation for their losses in the 13 colonies, or as payment for services in the military during the war. Settlers built many of their houses in the French style from a century earlier, so the new town had a historic character almost from the start. Because of its close proximity to Fort Detroit, many settlers crossed the border to continue their lives under British rule. Before the American Civil War, Amherstburg became a destination for fleeing enslaved people looking for freedom. The Underground Railway allowed refugees to cross the Detroit River towards freedom in Canada after the Crown abolished slavery. Although Michigan was a free state, slave catchers would often hide in Detroit to capture people before they left the country to take them back to enslavers for bounty. Detroit abolitionists William Lambert and especially George de Baptiste were key to helping enslaved people escape. De Baptiste owned a lake steamboat to take refugees across to Fort Malden. In fact, the town is even mentioned in an anti-slavery novel by American author Harriet Beecher Stowe, Uncle Tom's Cabin. Amherstburg is where George and Eliza entered Canada after escaping from the United States. By 1869, the town had grown to 2,500 people, and by 1878, it was officially incorporated. It was named after Geoffrey Amherst, 1st Baron Amherst, commander of the British forces, and 1st British Governor-General of the province of Quebec in 1760. Amherst was born on January 29, 1717, in Kent, England, and became a British Army officer, then Commander-in-Chief. He is credited as being the architect for Britain's successful campaign when he helped conquer the territory of New France during the 7 Years' War. Under his command, British forces captured Louisbourg, Quebec City, Montreal, and several other major fortresses. He was also the first Governor-General of what eventually became Canada. Numerous places are named after him across Canada and the United States in commemoration of his contributions. Many of the buildings first built in the 18th century still stand today, and some, like the Park House, are National Historic Sites. Originally built in Detroit, it was relocated to Amherstburg in 1799. Today, it's a museum showcasing life in the 1850s by offering a glimpse into the life of Dr. Theodore James Park, who practiced medicine in his house. Further down the road, past the ice cream parlor and coffee shops, is Gordon House. Located at 268 Dalhousie Street, it is the oldest building in the area, dating back to 1798. This two-story wood-framed house is a beautiful example of Georgian architecture. The perfectly symmetrical facade has a red door in the center with 4 windows, 2 on either side of the main floor and 5 windows on the second. It has narrow eaves with a steep roof and 2 brick chimneys at each end. From the street, the home looks plain and unassuming. The lot the house sits on was first issued by Captain Hector McLean to George Sharp, a Scottish merchant, in 1797. Unfortunately, he died in 1800 before he could build anything. I couldn't find information on who took over the land, but we know that the house was built between 1800 and 1804, and a watercolor painted in 1813 by Margaret Reynolds clearly shows the structure on the site. The first known occupant of the house was the Honorable James Gordon in 1821. James Gordon was born in Scotland in 1786 and studied at the Inverness Royal Academy. As a young man, he arrived in Amherstburg before 1809 because we know he served as lieutenant in the local militia, the 1st Essex Regiment, and was present during the War of 1812. Gordon remained as a merchant after the war and was given the lot where his house still stands today. He then became a politician and served on the Legislative Assembly of Upper Canada for Kent County between 1820 and 1828. In 1822, he was named Justice of the Peace in the Western District and was a founding member of the Upper Canada Clergy Society. He was appointed to the Legislative Council of Upper Canada in 1829 and the Legislative Council of the Province of Canada in 1845. According to the city tax records, James Gordon eventually left Amherstburg sometime after 1853 because that was the last year his name appears on the house. By 1856, the Amherstburg Directory does not list him at all. Gordon moved to Toronto and died in 1865. Today, Gordon House is a provincially designated heritage site. When you walk inside, you are greeted by an oak staircase leading to the second floor. The interior is painted a pale blue, and there are antiques and artifacts in the hallways and rooms that make up this tourist and information center. In a 2022 interview, former manager Ann Rhoda recalled that during renovations, strange things happened every morning when she arrived for work. She remembered walking up the few steps to unlock the red front door. She stepped inside and heard the sound of glass breaking coming from the second floor parlor room. She knew that no one else was in the house, so she went upstairs to investigate and could not find any signs of broken glass. This happened every day for the next 2 months. The sound always came from the parlor room, which spans the length of the house with views of Dalhousie Street and the Detroit River. It has yellow wallpaper and paint and is where one of 4 original fireplaces is located. Anne said she felt like someone was trying to tell her that there had been a change in the house, whether it was renovations or a new employee. As I mentioned earlier, the Gordon House is now an information center, so in the main hallway, you can find a small table, an antique organ, and the red jacket of a soldier from the War of 1812. Information, pamphlets, and a guest book are set out on the table. The first room on the left now allows tourists to purchase memorabilia. If you keep walking towards the back of the house, you'll see a room which 200 years ago is where new life came into the world. It was a birthing room, which is where women went to give birth and recover. It was a common feature in Georgian-style homes, as we discussed in the Cosset House episode. And much like that story, the Gordon House birthing room today holds antique dolls stored behind a glass cabinet and a small antique pram in the corner. In a CBC interview on October 31st, 2022, Anne Rhoda confirmed that staff have heard babies crying in the birthing room, but that the sound always stops whenever anyone enters. Rhoda has experienced the sound of breaking glass and crying babies, and that's not all. She has also heard noises like someone walking up and down the staircase whenever she's been alone in the house. And on occasion, she needed a little assistance going up the staircase after feeling a wind blow up her back as she climbed the stairs to the second floor. Rhoda also remembered the time employees met in 2016 to discuss renovations. That one afternoon, an employee walked into the front room to find her desk hovering off the floor, moving back and forth about 2 inches, and then slamming back down to the hardwood floor. It is believed that the spirit or presence was not happy, and that the employee, who was a very facts-based person, would likely not have believed the story if she hadn't seen the desk move by itself with her own eyes for herself. Rhoda mentioned that every time there's been a change or something new in the house, the ghost reacts to remind the staff that they were there first. While I'm sure this would have scared many, this employee continued to do her job and worked alongside those she couldn't see but definitely could feel. While Gordon House and the Visitor Information Center are popular stops for tourists, they are also popular destinations for ghost hunters. In 2022, Ontario's Most Haunted, a YouTube show hosted by local paranormal investigators, met with Rhoda, who told them she never liked to work in the house after hours because she always felt it was creepy. Her desk was by the wall in the corner, and she said that when she sits there, she always felt like someone was walking or pacing behind her, even though there's never anyone there. While they were filming the YouTube show, a mysterious knock was caught on film, and I will add the link in the show notes. Sarah, a tourism coordinator, was also there during filming and took them to the front bedroom, which is now her office. This is where years earlier, someone had seen the desk floating off the ground, but she mentioned that although she hadn't seen her desk move, she has often felt unsettled and like she shouldn't be there. She also shared that others have felt a child's spirit in the room and have seen a child in distress sitting in the corner. The Gordon House is home to spirits, but staff for the most part don't mind working alongside them. So the next time you're in the quaint town of Amherstburg, Ontario, stop by the Tourism and Information Center and explore. If you hear breaking glass or mysterious knocking, don't be afraid. It's just the spirits letting you know that they're watching your every move. Thank you for joining me as we explored the Gordon House in Amherstburg, Ontario. The Edmonton Ghost Tours sponsors Haunted Canada. I will link it in the show notes. Haunted Canada is written and produced by me, Nadine Bailey, with senior producer Dila Velasquez. Production and sound design is by Rob Johnson, with help from Rosin Kufer. If you would like to support the podcast, please follow and share. We also appreciate a like and a 5-star written review. Also, you can follow me on our different social media platforms, or if you have a ghost story, haunting, or true crime that you would like for us to cover on this podcast, please email me through the website hauntedcanada.com. Thank you from all of us at Haunted Canada and Curious Cast. Have a good night, everyone, and stay haunted.